What's going on? Let me make sure. There we go. What's going on? Happy Tuesday. Happy New Year. Man, 2023. My goodness. Feels like 2022 just passed by us. I know for me, it went really quick. It went quick, but also slow at certain times. But welcome to the first of the year for Industry Anxieties. I hope everybody had a great New Year's. I hope everybody is working on whether if it's a New Year's resolution or just like a new type of mindset we're all trying to get on. These first 2 weeks of the year, I feel so important because you can be able. I think that as a collective, we're all very motivated for change. So use these 2 weeks because that's what it usually typically, that's what it usually typically stays for about 2 weeks. Use these 2 weeks to get a good habit going. But I'm excited to be able to have my brother Mont Brown on, as well as our special guest, an amazing entrepreneur, amazing queen, activist. She's gonna have a great conversation with us, and it's Deshaun Chancy. Can't wait to have her on. Give you her bio, but first let me get my brother Mont on, see where he's at. Man, we're gonna get started with the conversation. You know, hope again. I hope everybody had a good New Year's. You know, I wonder does anybody have any New Year's resolutions? I think for me, mine's is my theme for the new year is I don't have the bandwidth. So I'm telling everybody I don't have the bandwidth. Meaning, if somebody's asking me to do something that I just don't got the energy for, I think boundaries are an important piece for this coming year. So where's my brother Mont at? Let's see where you at, Mont. Go, I'm gonna wait for him a little bit. Hop on. Here we go. Oh, let's see. My brother on here. Here we go. My bro on here.
My guy.
Yo. Good brother.
Happy New
Happy
Year's, my
New
boy.
Year's. Yes, sir. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you did something. Fun, substance. You doing different.
Man, I was asleep, bro.
Yeah, same thing with me, bro. I got a new baby, so that's
Yeah.
that's my New Year's right there. You know what I'm saying? So, but like I was just saying, I love the New Year's because everybody got this collective motivation for something new, and it usually lasts about 2 weeks. But we can still use these 2 weeks to kind of get a good routine in place. You know, a lot of times people gotta realize that motivation, people stop, and they feel upset when motivation goes away. But motivation never really, is permanent. But when it goes away, that's when discipline takes its place. So you need motivation to create a habit so you can be able to be disciplined. So, you know, having that mindset, brother. Good. So we have somebody on here. She's an amazing woman, amazing CEO, Deshaun Chancy, president of Dare to Have Her Hair. Dare to Have Hair, Dare Care, founder of Daring Business Besties, and a 3-time author. She has an amazing story. I definitely think you're going to appreciate this story, brother. She was down to her last $300 in investment, and she was down and out, but she built up an empire for a hair care empire that reached over $1 million in sales. So she's definitely somebody great to talk about. She has an amazing story. So I'm gonna try to bring her up here. Deshaun. Where you at? Deshaun, if you on here, let me know. I'm trying to see what's her IG John is that.
I just seen it.
What'd you say?
Yeah.
She's on here? Okay. Let's see. Where is she at? I don't see. If you on here, just do wave. Do what do you do? Like the wave or do the video request? I don't. She's not pulling up on here. Oh, there we go. There we go. All right. Sheesh. I'm bad. All right, she's popping up on here.
Hey.
There we go. Queen.
Happy New Year's to you
Happy
as
New
well.
Year's to you. Absolutely, absolutely. I hope you had a good New Year's. Did you have a good end of the year? And did you bring into the New Year's, like, did you do anything fun? Do anything?
I had a good transition.
Memorable?
I didn't really. I mean, I had fun in my own way. I did a lot of rest, praying, and just trying to prepare for this year.
What's this year looking like for you? What's like that mindset? What's that goal?
It's definitely about like focus, with precision, rebuilding, rebranding, and building new opportunities. So that's what I'm trying to do this year.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I mean, I think that's I mean, again, with your story right now, I think you'll definitely be able to build and rebrand and build up even your company even bigger than what it was and what it is actually. So Dare to Have Hair, that's dope. So how long was Dare to Have Hair? Like how long?
So
Like how
I
long?
started Dare to
When
Have
did you
Hair in
start that?
2012. So yeah, we just came
Okay.
up on the 10-year mark last year.
Long time.
10 years. Wow. Jeez. Does it feel? Yeah. Does it feel like 10 years?
It actually doesn't feel like 10 years. It's definitely a lot. It's definitely a lot of work. And what I will say is, I had to get over, like, you know what I mean? Like the feeling of fear, which produces anxiety, because the company grew so fast and I wasn't expecting that. I was just wanting to bring some additional income into my home to support my husband. I didn't think that it was going to, grow legs and arms and a belly and be as big as it was. When I first started out, I was selling bundles out of the trunk of my car. So, I was just trying to bring in money to pay bills and help my husband with that. And, things like that. I just thought it was going to be like a side hustle. So I didn't think that it was going to turn into what it has turned into. And being a first line, entrepreneur of my family, a business person on this level, it was like I'm breaking down a lot of doors and boundaries and generational curses that, I wasn't, I'm not going to say I wasn't prepared for it because I know God had already put it in me. But, just that I don't really have anyone to go back to and be like, how did you do this? Or when we look at other families that have businesses that have been passed down, it's kind of like a blueprint for them, where I am creating the blueprint of everything.
Funny, which it's not. Of course, it's not funny, but when people say fear, it's like that's not even like a real thing.
Yeah, it's definitely a real thing. That's something that I am strategically and aggressively praying against this year, because, we say a lot of things because they're cliche, because we hear a lot of people say them, and this has been passed down through our culture and our family. And one of the things is, if you're going to do it, just do it afraid, do it scared, but do it anyway. And that's just a horrible mindset to have because, I'm a Christian, and we're told that God didn't give us a spirit of fear, but of love, power, and a sound mind. So if you're operating out of the spirit of fear, even if you're still doing it, but doing it afraid, it's going to cause anxiety. It's going to cause, mental health issues and can cause physical issues and so many other issues that we don't have to carry. So I'm trying to get rid of that, you know, just not dealing with the spirit of fear at all and just doing what I have to do because I don't have to have that spirit, you know. We don't have to be afraid.
I'm Christian as well, and it's like someone told me before, it's like if you have fear, that's like saying you don't believe in God, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I don't have fear because I believe in God that much, and
Mm-hmm.
like whatever happens, that's exactly what's supposed to happen. And I think like you're right, like people don't think at it like that. They just live life, and I'm scared to do this. I'm in fear, but it's like, man, if you just walk with God, you're really good. Like
Mm-hmm.
you're going to get
That's
sure.
facts.
Like it's not even a
That's
thing.
facts.
So the anxiety and all that won't even be there if you just give it all to God.
Right. And
And yeah. That's like the scariest thing. You know what I mean? Like again, getting that power, like getting that control and giving it up. You know what I mean? But I think it's about making sure that you're putting power to things that you have, you know, control over. And a lot of times people focus on things that they just don't have that control over. And that's when they start feeling like helpless and feeling like they're giving up because they're focusing so much on these things you don't got any power over. So it's always about reframing that and seeing, okay, what do I have control over? I don't have control over the weather. I got control over if I have an umbrella or if I can go inside or not. So shifting that
right.
perspective is so important, and
Yeah.
I think people need to do that.
And sometimes we
Yeah,
honestly create
that's facts.
giants and ghosts and boogie monsters in our mind that don't even exist when you start dabbling with the spirit of fear. You create illusions that don't even
Yeah.
exist. I mean, some of them definitely are there because there's always principalities working against us. But at the same time, sometimes we create illusions of things that don't exist or won't even there because we create a what if. Like when I first started my company, my whole thing was like, no one's not going to buy from me, or you know, I don't know. I'm comfortable with selling them out of my trunk because I have control over that. But if I launch my website, then you know no one's going to buy from me. No one knows who I am. So why would anyone buy from me? And I created an illusion that wasn't even there. And I thank God that He relinquished that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, with me moving forward. But because you know, sometimes you know, fear does try to grip us, you know, just like with Peter when he got off the boat and then, you know, God was right there, you know, to help him. But, you know, it definitely happens. And I've seen it in my walk so many times. But now it's like, I feel like our life, our spirituality is just like our natural. And just like as a baby, sometimes we got to get rid of that mindset. So someone is there to help us walk. Someone is there to help us crawl. But now I'm to the point that now I want to just relinquish fear altogether. Like I don't have to walk weeble or afraid or the what if. Now I just want to walk boldly into whatever it is that God has next for me.
Yeah.
I love that. Because
Yeah.
it's all about that mindset. You know, I'm big with you know, I live
Mm-hmm.
in awareness. I don't live in fear. So like there's two situations. Like okay, if there's a road there, you can be afraid to get hit by a car, and then you
Mm-hmm.
be so afraid you don't cross the road, or
Mm-hmm.
you're aware that there's dangers there, so you're gonna be a little more alert. Still cross the
Mm-hmm.
road, but you know there's dangers there. So a lot of times when people are like, well, you know, I gotta be fearful because of this and that. No,
Yeah,
it's just
definitely.
all about shifting that awareness.
And it's
You
funny
know,
that you
you
say
got to
that
be aware.
because I joke with a
And
couple of my friends and I said last year I felt like
mhm.
I got spinned around real fast and just pushed out in traffic. And by the grace of God, I made it to the other side. And that came from
Look at that.
me being, you know, fear or allowing my anxieties to get to me to the point where I was um, eating at the table of people that I shouldn't have been at, or letting people in my ear or in my circle that should never have been there because I wasn't confident you know what I mean, and my own ability and what God had already placed in me. Not even knowing that, like, if God already brought me here, he could take me there, because sometimes we lose our way because, you know, we get anxious, or we get tired, or we get weary, you know, we get frustrated, you know, we get that mentality where I'm just doing it all by myself, you know, and all those things take place, and you let the wrong people get in your ear. And it's crazy because I've known all my life that if you let the wrong people get in your head, you know, I mean, let somebody get in your head, they got you. So you have to be very careful. You have to guard your mind. That's another way where you can, you know, blot out fear, is guarding your mind and being conscious and aware of who you allow to whisper in your ear or talk to you, or who you take advice for, because everybody doesn't have the best benefit for you. They have the best benefit for them. So if it can benefit them, then they'll try to maneuver you or talk you into a situation that you don't have no business being in either way. Not saying that you won't survive it, but you didn't have to be there.
Yeah, listen, we got supply chain issues. We got, you know, shortages on milk, eggs. But one thing they'll never have shortage on is advice. People will always give you their 2 cents, but it's about understanding, you know, who you want to take advice from. I'm not going to take diet and tips from a fat person. I'm not going to take, you know what I mean, financial tips from from
Right.
somebody who's heavily in debt. Yeah, so it's about being aware of, again, who you're allowing to
Yeah,
get
because people
that,
get
you
the
know,
best advice
get
about
that energy
situations
from.
they've never been in their life. Like, they'll be like, oh, well, that was,
That's
or
what
they'll
I'm
get in
saying.
your ear, like, say you about to do something, and, you know, you ask a family member, you know, for some money or something, and that person say no. And they'll be like, well, I don't understand why they saying no to you. Because if you know, I would just give it to you. You wouldn't know because you don't have $200, or you don't have $1,000,000. So you would
Yeah,
never know what you would do if you was in that situation, if you didn't have that type of
it's
you know, people always
facts.
have advice for
That's
something, or, you
facts.
know, if I was married, I would do this, this, and that, but you're not married. So you can't really say unless you're actually in that situation. So people always got the best advice for situations that they don't even know how to
Yeah.
handle, or have never even been in their self.
That's hindsight's 2020. You know, people will try to sound wise by just giving hindsight. Like, man, you really shouldn't have did that because this is what happened. But yeah, I know this what happened. Like, you see it. You know what I'm saying? So you just gotta just always be mindful of these swindlers out here that's trying to just, you know, either profit off of your ideas, but
Hmm.
also just profit off of your energy. You know what I'm saying? And
You
swindlers
know,
at a high right now. You know what I
it's
mean?
so
And
funny you say that, because I was talking to someone, and I actually heard someone say this before, but we was talking about like the amount of women right now that are either emotionally stuck, or, you know, emotionally hurt, and, you know, or, you know, just like, you know, the spirit of narcissism. You know, a lot of people like, oh, this is a narcissist. And don't get me wrong, it can go both ways, because it could be a female or a man. But I was saying that, you
yeah.
know, I love the fact that people now are talking about therapy, or just learning the mind, not only the body. Because guys, y'all are taught at a young age to be mindful of gold diggers, but no one teaches a woman to be mindful of a soul digger.
Mm.
You know, teaches a woman that, you know, no
Ooh.
one teaches women to be mindful of soul diggers. All our lives we hear guys talking about, you know, gold digger this, gold digger that, or, you know, or pops, you know, old head telling you information about gold digger, but no one is telling these women about soul diggers. And that's why so many women are stuck, because they allow someone to emotionally
Wow.
drain them, manipulate them, or mentally, you know, drain them or manipulate them, and they get stuck in that. It's hard to get out. Once you are in a relationship with somebody, and it can go both ways, for a man or a woman that mess with you mentally and
Wow.
emotionally, it takes a minute to get out of that place. But no one is warning people about soul diggers. We always talk about gold diggers.
But I think that's
Wow.
like a whole deeper issue. Like that stems from our parents. Like,
Yeah, a lot of it is generational. A lot of it is generational. I mean, especially for our culture, it goes back to slavery, the way we were set up against each other, the way, you know, the men treated the woman, the way the women treated the woman. I mean, a lot of that goes into hand in hand. But because no one ever talked about it, we never really, you know, dealt with healing or education, or saying don't do that, because at the end of the day,
Mm.
um, I mean, people have been playing with people's mind for years, but again, nobody's warned them about that. It's just like a tick for tat game, so it goes both ways. So it's like a transferable thing. It's kind of like, especially like with men, you know, if y'all get y'all first heartbreak, y'all done. It's gonna take a minute to get in that vault. That thing is locked down closed.
That's
You know what I mean?
that's big
But
facts.
women, they carry
Yeah,
that pain
yeah.
on to the next situation and the next relationship. So either way, it's traumatizing, but still, no one talks about it.
Mm, Soul diggers. I'm still stuck on that. That's a good one. Soul diggers. Wow. Because you're right. Because again, you know, people always might, you know, have, you know, for men, we always being mindful of making sure girls aren't trying to take away your money and things like that. But yeah, you're right. They don't, because again, I mean, why do you think that is? Why do you think that women aren't taught at a young age to watch out for these men? Do we feel like because, you know, they weren't aware of that? They feel like those men are the ones that usually may have some finance or the security. Like, what do you think?
I,
That's the first time me
I,
hearing
I
the soul get,
honestly
and
feel
but it makes so
that,
much sense.
you know, it's just the stereotype and the culture, period, with, you know, how women and men are raised. Like, we are raised that a man is
Mm-hmm.
supposed to be the provider, the cultivator, the protector. You know, the woman is supposed to be more so the home caregiver and, you know, tend to the children and things of that. And so many women get lost in that. And so many men get lost in that and not really. And wisdom, for me,
Yeah.
wisdom tells me that it shouldn't be a role put on somebody because of their gender, because you could be married to somebody and they're the man, but they're just not good with handling money. But maybe the woman is good with handling money, or he might be a better cook than her and she can't cook at all, you know, or he might be a better cleaner than her and she can't clean at all, you know. So I don't really think that we should place you know, roles on people, but for so long it's been that way. And so it
Yeah.
kind of was like, you know, we are, as women, we were kind of brought up in a culture where if a man is providing for you, or a man is the, you know, the head of the house, then, you know, you're supposed to deal with certain stuff because that's how it is. So many women get stuck in it, you know. And then there's so many other things that come into that with
Yeah.
insecurities, where some people abuse people because of these different powers. It's like, okay, so they don't want their significant other to make money, or they don't want their significant other to do anything because now they have to solely depend on them. So now they have a form of control. So, I mean, it goes both ways with different things, where people abuse that, again, because of their own insecurities, and just not being secure in themselves and not realizing that love was never made to be a prison, but it's supposed to be something of freedom. But, you know, people use that for their own benefit.
Mm, mm, mm. Yeah, no, I mean, that's definitely
I mean, that
facts with
in
that.
itself is like a whole nother
Man.
thing that has to be, you know, broken down with. Like, marriage is hard. Okay. I've been married for going on, I want to say 13 years, I think years.
Wow. Congrats.
But I, I met my husband at his rawest form, and he met me at my rawest form. We were pretty much, you know, young adults, teenagers. So we went through every stage with each other. Um, but he's gotten so many different versions of me, and I've gotten so many different versions of him. And if you aren't able to adapt through that, that's why a lot of marriages don't work, because we're not able to adapt to people's growth and change. You know what I mean? Like when he first met me, the things I used to
That's
like, I
facts.
don't like anymore. And sometimes people will get frustrated by that, and, you know, and vice versa. You have to be able to grow with a person through different changes or different mentalities. Like when you meet somebody and they're in their young 20s or 19,
Yeah.
you know, 9 times out of 10, a guy mindset and where a woman want their mindset to be. And then things shift, you know, over time, you know, and mistakes are
Yeah.
made, but a lot of times people aren't able to get through that. They just be like, they're so used to dismissing, like soon as something happened, dismissing and hopping on to the next.
You think
So
that's the problem what's going on in today's?
Yeah.
That's why it's like, you know, not a lot of married couples.
yeah, we're definitely living in an era where
Mm.
everybody is so big on self-care and mental health that it's like they got so many boundaries up. It's like it's like a prison, you know. So it's like as soon as you do one thing wrong, or they feel like one thing is a red flag, or you know, something's not working their way, or they feel like it's not going their way, then they be like, all right, I'm done, and they be on to the next.
I think so. Like you were saying, like with females. So if a guy break a female heart, the female move on, but she's
That's not
bring.
necessarily true. I ain't say that. No,
Okay.
I said
Well,
guy, it'll be hard it's hard for the guy to open back up.
no. So yeah. So it was hard for the guy to back up, but then the female go to the next relationship, and she's taking whatever he did to her, she's taking that to the new relationship. So the new guy is still feeling a backlash from.
So it's the guy though, because now on the flip side, then the girl gotta worry about like, dang, like he don't even want to cuddle with me, because he like, I can't be vulnerable with you at all. Last time I was vulnerable.
No, yeah, that's what happens. So
yeah, so it's like trauma on top of trauma gets passed down and passed on, and you know, people deal with it in different ways. Their toxicity, where they take it out on a new person, or they have like, they so guarded up that the next person got to go through hoops and fire to try to get into their heart, or you know, just a whole bunch of stuff, because people usually don't heal before they move on. They want to just use the other person as you know, comfort to get over the pain, instead of actually taking time out to actually heal.
I mean, I think that's the thing though. People gotta, like, I mean, get to know who you are as an individual, like, you know, because I feel like you can't really get someone 100% if you don't know who you are as a person. And it's, you know, getting married at a young age. Not saying you, I'm just speaking in general, because you know, you guys probably really thugged it out, and wanted to be together. Is it my phone? Or?
I think it's the whole network, because I think my phone tripping a
I
little
can hear
bit
you.
too. Can you hear me, bro?
See her though.
Yeah, I think her connection is a little she's probably reconnected and everything. I think that's just the whole network right now. But we're gonna make it work with that. But no, this is definitely a good convo, man, because I think that you know, as we're gonna be starting getting out of, you know, cupping season and going into more of you know, the newer opportunities, because usually after like February 15th and 16th, that's when, you know, you know how it go. Like they went through the whole cuddle situation. Then it's like it's about to start getting warmer now, and then you know, that's how it be going. But you're right. Like oh no, she got, hold on, she sent a new request. Hold on. Let me put her back on. Let's see if that works. The John still in the circle mode. Let's see. You it,
Yeah.
like you can hear me, right, bro? All right. So let me see what's up. She sent another request.
February
All
8th.
right. Yeah. See, the devil working. They're like, oh, yeah. I mean, the devil don't want us to have this combo, but guess what? You know, we ain't listen to the devil, man. You know what I'm saying? Let's see, Chancy. Wait. Mm, completely intelligent. So I can't. How do we take her out
I
completely?
don't
How do you
know,
do that?
man. Probably got
Yeah. Let's see. How do we do that? I click on her situation. 1 second. Sorry, guys. We got a little technical difficulty here trying to get her back on. Let's see. Resend. I appreciate everybody's comments
I'm
it.
back,
on how to
guys.
troubleshoot this. There we go.
Y'all
There we
talking
go.
about black love?
There we
Not
go.
today.
They don't want us to be healed and connect and grow and flourish.
That's what I'm saying. The devil working. The devil busy right now. No, but yeah, it's. I think the most powerful thing is, you know, the relationship between black, two
Yeah.
black individuals. You know what I mean? I'm big on that. I didn't used to be. Listen, I used to be a snow bunny chaser, and then my wife, my wife was like, "Oh no, we bringing this nigga back to the dark side." And then, but that was probably one of the most powerful things. And I've been married to my wife for about 5 years now, and I enjoy every single moment of it. So from a 5 year to a 12 year, right? So how are you guys continuing to keep things moving, pushing, and
Um,
growing?
I
Are
feel
you
like
guys
we are
continuing to
our
checking
best
in
place
with
that
each
we
other?
ever was been at, but it definitely we definitely went through the fire to get here. I would say 5 years at that. When we in our 5 year level, we was like it was war. It was war of roses. Because what people don't fail to realize, I mean, if we want to keep it real, like if people don't fail to realize, marriage is bringing two people together as one. So that right itself is hard because it's like you have to lose yourself in order to become one with someone else. You have to let go of your way. They got to let go of their way, and you got to figure your way. And that's hard because it's like, again, you have so many boundaries, you have so many walls up from past situations, you have so many things like,
Yeah.
even at that level, like I don't really want to give all the way in because like if I give all the way in, then what if I get out? Again, that spirit of fear comes in and you already are planning to exit before anybody ever says you had to go. And 9 times out of 10, we do that. You know what I mean? We're already planning to exit when we go into a relationship before, what when the door is supposed to be closed, you're supposed to come in a room and nobody get out. It's supposed to be, a safe room. But we
That's
already
real.
are, kind of like I got my key over here, you got your key over there. I'm gonna put this in my pocket just in case it go down. I gotta lock myself out. I mean, if we being honest, that's just how it is. And like I said, we had the rawest phases of each other because we were young adults, transitioning from teenagers. At that point, me from a female perspective, we come in a situation locked, loaded, and ready to just give our all. We just put all our stuff on the table, and y'all like, hold up, like let's portion this out, like, So, and then you notice over time, again, things start to shift because, which I'm not going to lie, I knew because of the intellect that God just blessed me with. Once you really get a man to open up his heart, you really can't get out. That door it's locked. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, it's like a dangerous thing. So it's like you really, because once you get them to open up, that's why niggas be killing niggas over girls. Like people be like, I mean, girls will fight over a guy, and we might kill the guy, but niggas, they will kill you. you know,
That's
you
fact.
get open.
That's
Like,
facts.
you know how hard it is to like.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
You only going to be open probably with your mom and your grandma, and like your aunt at most.
Right.
Like it's hard. Hard. It's very hard. And
very hard.
we was always
It's very honestly, it's not that hard. I always tell people it's well that you're right. That part is hard, but it's not hard to get married. It's not hard to get married. It's not hard, to be in a committed relationship. I'm not going to say committed to the point that they're not going to cheat, but it's not hard to get someone to marry you. The hard part is building the covenant and the union with somebody. Because like you said, it's so hard. Women usually, like you said, put it all out on the table. And then y'all, like you were saying, like, first of all, when you get there, like you said, who you say, your mom, your sister, you're already loving them too. So you got them two over the wife. So then the wife, like, I'm supposed to be up here. And you like, that's my mom.
Yes. If your grandma raised you, that's a different. That's but
So old
so
school.
I think
Old school.
I mean I'm just saying because I don't know you, your husband, but I think you guys probably had the advantage of a lot of people because you grew together. So I'm pretty sure like that's your best friend.
We had to learn to be each other best friend. We had to learn to be each other best friend because again, it's especially if you're dealing with a dynamic of somebody that already, first of all, if you're dealing with a man, let me just say that because I didn't know that, some men just ain't manning it. I'm just gonna be honest. You know, they think they having a lot of female traits.
Yeah.
But when
That's
you're
facts.
dealing with a man that is a man, you know, now it's funny to me where before it used to irritate me, but when you're dealing with somebody that is like a total man, and you have to appreciate that. Like, women, stop trying to make your woman your man feminine. Like, when you're dealing with somebody that is a man, it's two different things. So y'all usually have the same friends for years. Like, y'all don't really switch. Y'all have the same friends for years. So it's even okay. So there's so many walls and boundaries you gotta break through with a black man. Okay, so you already gotta break through to get to their heart. Now you gotta break through to get into the loyal of gang. You know. I mean, if you're dealing with somebody that's a guy, you know what I mean? So it's so many different layers that you have to unlock when you're, you know, in a relationship. In a marriage that, you know, it can become exhausting. So I can see why people would just, you know, give up, but not even realizing that when you give up, you got to start over ground zero with somebody else. Now you got to.
How many times you was ready to throw the towel in?
How many times I was what?
Ready to throw the towel in.
What? See, and then you also have to deal. See, I'm big on personality. I'm big on intellectual. Like, Prime's been around me a few times, and he probably already know. I love to analyze people. Okay, like that is my thing. I love people watching and analyzing people. So in doing that, like I said, and what I was starting to say earlier, I always had a higher intellect. So there's certain things that I knew. So for me, again, it might be to me. You know, somebody says easy to bake a cake. To me, it's not easy to bake a cake. But like to me, it's not really easy to get a husband because I analyze people. So that's what I do. And you know, there are some people out there that analyze people. But once you analyze a person and know what they like and what they don't like, that personality trait is this and that, you can kind of know how to handle them. And you know, kind of know how to deal with them. But so my personality, I'm a runner. I'm a runner. My husband's a chaser. But here's the flip side of it. I am more vulnerable. He's more transparent. So, you know, there's a difference. People confuse the two because transparency will have you falling in love with something, but then you go to turn the doorknob and they be like, nope, locked. And you were like, but you just showed me a good time. And like, nah, you don't have access to that yet.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? It'll have you confused. But once you know the personality that you're dealing with, it kind of helps you to be able to get through it. But go ahead, Fonz.
Absolutely.
Right. So
you
I
said
am the one
you
that
were
would be like,
right?
you know what? I don't want to deal with this. I'm leaving. I'm going. I can do that all by myself. I'm a strong black woman. I don't gotta be here. I mean, I was like that at 16.
I was about to ask, like, when did you start noticing your
I
running? So
noticed that
since
I
you were
was a runner
16, or that
I've been
always
through
been
so much growing up. It was just like, you know, I already seen the worst of the world. So it's like, I don't have to deal with this. Like, I can just, I had told my mom at a young age, thank God broke that off of me. But at a young age, when I was like 11 or 12, when just looking at the family dynamics again, because I analyzed, I was like, I'm never getting married. I'm going to go to the Philippines. I'm going to find me a nice, fine man. I'm going to just have a baby by him so my baby can be beautiful. I'm going to come back to the States. He ain't going to never see me and that baby again. My mom, like, they're like, who hurt you? You know, but that was my plan because I was hurt. You know, I had childhood trauma. I was sexually abused when I was little. You know, I seen the dynamics of, you know, black families not working. You know, I come from Chester, Pennsylvania, so I have a close family, but it's small. And then, you know, the neighbors and things like that. So I've seen a lot of relationships failing or a lot of relationships that appear to be successful that wasn't successful. So I was like, I'm not dealing with this. Like, for what? Like, you know, I could just go out and have a good time, you know, have me some sex, have me a baby, raise it by myself. I already knew I'm gonna make some money somehow, some way. I was like, I don't gotta have that. So that was already my mindset. But at the same time, I still desire intimacy. And for me, it was more so of, if you tell me I can't have something, I'm gonna want it more. You know, so if you be like, I don't want a commitment, then it's like, dang, I gotta get you to commit to me, because who tell me no?
Oh, there we go. So there was not any representation or any models of a healthy relationship growing up, right? What was the first time you saw what a healthy relationship?
I would say I had one aunt and uncle that you know, they probably were the healthiest of a relationship, that kind of, you know, planted a seed in me. Like I said, because I am a person that analyze, I always pulled off, and I still do the same thing. I pull off of the strengths of the people around me. So it's like, I feel like I was raised, you know, I was raised by, I truly was raised by a village, and I embraced that, because it was like what I felt like my mom might have lacked, or I didn't get from my dad because his presence wasn't there. You know, I would pull that from my aunt, or I will pull that from this person, and I will pull it from a teacher, and I will apply that to my life, to help me become a better person, and pull on that. So there was, I would just see, you know, certain things, certain places, and I'm like, okay, I would like that. Or even from TV, okay? Because even now with my business, I have mentors that I've never known. It's like Steve Jobs is still a mentor to me, and he's dead. So I'm able to pull from different places and apply it to my life. So even like the Huxtables, or, you know, a TV show, you know, I'm able to pull from and be like, okay, if I did have a family, I would want the dynamics to be like this or be like that. But I mean, that can also can cause damage, because now you're creating a fantasy. So and for all things, again, because I thank God for giving me wisdom, that things that I built and constantly had to tear down. So it's like, now I'm married, but to me, I'll be like, oh, well, I don't feel like my husband loves me enough. Where sometimes we'll think a person's not loving us when they loving us with everything that's in them. But because you built a fantasy and you want them to love you a certain way, you think that they're not loving you. That's not true, because we all have different love languages, and we all love in different ways. And just because I have this fantasy in my mind that I want you to do something, don't mean that you don't love me. And that's another way how we end up tearing each other down in a relationship, because we have this fantasy of what we desire instead of just communicating. And maybe the person can adapt to it, you know, or be open up to it. But instead we hold this image in our head, but without showing our mate, and we're like comparing them against that. And then it leads to open doors. And open doors is a horrible thing to have, because it depends where you're at. What could come through that door? You know, if I'm in Chester, a roach might come through. I'm in New York, it might be a rat, you know?
Do you think that's kind of why maybe a lot of relationships aren't even working now, because of social media? There's a fantasy, like all these pages, the Black Love page and Black Marriage page, and they're like, well, this is how this is supposed to be, and you know, this person's not giving that to me, so I'm
Absolutely.
out. I'm gonna try to
Comparison is
find
a thief
something.
of joy. And we live in a world right now where everybody compares a moment or a highlight with somebody's happiness, and they could be going home getting their head beat up. You know, their social media can be a whole thing for them to make money, but it appears to be good. Like I thank God. I just really just thank God for what he has done in my life, and just him making me the way that he has made me. But just being around certain people of certain financial statuses and certain influential statuses that, you know, people only appear to see them on Instagram. But just being around certain celebrities and certain couples and stuff, and on an Instagram home front, it looked like, oh, this person is as goals. Like, you know, these rappers and girls are goals, but they be hurting the most. They're dealing with the biggest soul diggers, because what people fail to realize is, to whom much is given, much is required. Sometimes the most successful people be the most insecure people, and it takes a level of attention and energy and devotion to constantly pour back into them, and they constantly tear down the people that's closest to them down to feed that, because even at the highest level of their success, they still don't feel like they're good enough.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that, and it's also about understanding there's always going to be a give and take as well, because like people like are, you know, even for like women, they want a very ambitious man. They want, you know, somebody that's like, you know, running businesses and everything like that. But you also have to realize, if you want somebody that's going to be doing that, you also have to realize there's the time that he's going to be able to have with you may not be as much as if he wasn't as ambitious. So a lot of times people have to also understand that quality is, you know, it's kind of better than quantity at times, if you're trying to build something, you know, really, you know, really genuine, really
I
big.
don't agree with that all the way.
But a lot of times, okay.
Because
let's
I feel
discuss.
like
This is what
it's
we're
like
here
speaking
for.
for
Let's
me as
discuss.
being an ambitious person. Okay. So I had to learn balance because
Yeah,
people want to make
absolutely.
time for what they want to make time for.
Hmm.
But a lot of times your
Absolutely.
ambition can be a distraction if you actually dealing with what's in front of you. And a lot of times people use ambition as a distraction because they don't want to deal with at home or they don't want to deal with what's in front of them. So they fall in love with their craft or whatever it is that they have at going on because they don't, a lot of people like dealing with stuff on surface value. They don't, like you said, like you Mott said, they don't like really go into the deeper level. So it's like I'm giving you this level, but you trying to reach level 10. I ain't ready to give you level 10 yet. So it's easier to jump back into your ambition, you know, and just give surface level. But everybody knows surface level love or just giving a little bit breadcrumbing it here and there. Eventually it's going to cause some cracks. But when you really love somebody, you can still be ambitious and make time for them and put them first. But it's just, that's a level of growth.
So even piggybacking off of that, with again, the quality is still there. You can still go deep with somebody for an hour of deep conversation as opposed to 10
Well, I
hours
mean,
of just
it has
watching
to be
Netflix.
balanced too,
You
and
know what
then
I'm
it has to
saying?
be
So
security on both ends. Because if a person is secure, then I mean,
absolutely.
for me, I've never been a type of woman that just want to be up under a man all day. Like I'm this type of woman that is like,
That's why your perspective
yeah,
is
but
very different.
I
You
mean,
know,
but I feel
and
like,
which is a
you know,
good
you
situation.
gotta get to know yourself. If you don't sit with yourself and get to know
Yeah.
yourself and, you know, feel your groans and your moans and your goods and your bads, and you don't need to be married. Honestly, you don't need to be connected to nobody because you're going to constantly drain them because you are not comfortable with sitting with self.
So let me ask you thing
Right there.
for both of you guys, what you think is a good age to get married in today's time?
I don't think there's an
Mhm.
age. I think it's a mindset.
That's that's true in that the certain parts. I think men need to get married older than women because biologically our brains not doesn't develop for men until 27, 28. For women 23, 24. And it averages out to 25. That's why, you know, our insurances go down after 25 and you can rent a car
Medically,
after
that
that
definitely
because we
might
make
make
better
some
choices.
sense.
So
But what I
yeah.
can say is
So
that people that I know that
mhm,
marry later and
mhm.
like they do marry older men and then they marry so fast, that's a whole nother animal.
Mhm. Absolutely. So and it's it all depends, and especially and it all depends on like sometimes even the age gap because like sometimes if you know if it's like a 40-year-old man marrying a 18-year-old woman, sometimes again that can be more of a control type of situation depending on, again, each situation is different, but the majority of the time it's like, okay, why is this person who's 60 or 70 or 50 marrying somebody that young? It's just
Yeah,
more of
I think
that
that, you
kind of
know,
control
it's all
impressionable piece.
about what
But
works for you, like, you know, what your heart is leaning to. And I just think
absolutely.
that regardless of what age you get married, it's definitely going to be work. But you definitely, I think
Hmm.
a person should be able to be comfortable with their self first before they go into marriage. It's, you know,
Yeah.
especially women, like be okay with sitting with yourself, be okay with
Hmm.
being alone. Like I'm just not that type of woman
Yeah.
that have to be up under my husband all the time. Like I can have our
Hmm.
moment and we can have our thing. And then I'm cool with going in the room and watching TV by myself for hours, or, you know, if you have to go out. Now, when I say I was like this at 18, no, but I think a lot of it was because I thought that I had to be the other way because that's what I thought a woman was supposed to be
Hmm.
up under them. But that didn't make me happy either. But I definitely think that you should spend time with yourself before you want to jump into any type of committed relationship, especially marriage. Be okay with,
Yeah.
you know, some people go to the movies by themselves, go to dinner by themselves, read a book by yourself, do something, because in
Yeah.
marriage, there's going to be some times where we go through seasonal stuff individually, and your husband might
Hmm.
not be in a good place to be able to carry
Yeah.
you and him, and vice versa. And you need to be able to have
Hmm.
wisdom to know that so that you can pray for him and uphold
Yeah.
him and not burden him on top of what he had going on, because yes, he is supposed to be there to protect and provide for you, but you got to have wisdom to know when enough is enough, or you can break somebody. And a lot of times in these relationships, people are breaking people again because they have this fantasy where they just want to dump, or, you know, just give somebody, you know, all of their mess and just think that people are just supposed to be a superhero or come in and save them. But sometimes we got to save ourselves. There's things that we can do together, but we have to be able to be comfortable to confront our own issues and our own things without thinking that somebody else is supposed to make us happy. No, you need to be happy on your own, and he got to find his happiness on his own, and then together we come as one and be powerful. But if you're depending on me to fulfill a void in you, and I'm depending on you to fulfill a void in me, then we're going to constantly go like this. Because first of all, I'm not God. And there's only so level of deepness that I can reach. You know, there's so much of a climax that I can bring. You know, there's only so much.
That's why I asked that, because I think, like, especially in today's time, is like you gotta be willing to do the work on yourself first, right? And use, like, today's time, we like maybe, I'm gonna say, like 28, 29, 30 is where you really like coming into like who you really are. Maybe not even that. Maybe 30, 32, like you really coming into like you and understanding like, oh shit, I got purpose. It's not that person, that person. It's like, this is.
It's already set up quick.
That's facts. That's facts though. No, I agree, because I think that you say this a lot too. You said you know, a lot of times people don't look into the, you know, they have to look into the mirror, and that's the scariest thing, because because, you know, again, looking at your own flaws, looking at your own insecurities, looking at your own work, you know, first before anybody else's, that's one of the hardest things. And, you know, whenever you say that, it always, you know, I always take that
we
in
as people, and this is another reason, back to what you were saying, are like why a lot of people are don't really get committed right now. And this generation is because a lot of people don't like to deal with pain. Like, they don't like to deal with uncomfortableness. They don't like to deal with anything that's any type of irritation. You know, I see that in my kids. And honestly, a lot of it is how we're raised, because 9 times out of 10, as a parent, you're giving your child something that they lack, like that we lack, because we want to build them a better, you know, childhood. So it's like, no, you can't bring that in here though. It's going to echo. And that's why I had it with the box, with the background, how it was sitting. It was looking at the background that I have here.
Oh, I thought.
Where you took it from? Go back and look again.
It was on the
right, but it had something in back of it. It was already faced to something.
The bathroom?
Yes, but it had a background already.
So just leave it in there.
Yep, and mute it. Never mind. Just don't worry about it. Just turn it off. I'm sorry, guys. It's
all good.
The connection, because it got too close.
I think his connection. He'll hop back on. His connection just
or
went off.
You can go in there and call Nadir, and he'll tell you how to do it. All right.
Business. Stat just said business. Business never stops.
On my phone.
Said, don't mute it.
On my other phone. She has it, Nadir. But anyway, what were we talking about?
Okay. Well, listen, we talk about everything. We was talking about, you know, relationships. We was talking about, just again, you know, just that, you know, making sure that self-worth.
Okay, when I was little, I wanted to have this, so now we give our kids that. But sometimes in doing that, we make things too comfortable for them. We make things too convenient for them, and then that's why we have a generation on down that is just like a microwave generation, because it's like you are so ready to soothe and not allow people to cry a little bit, you know what I mean, or hurt a little bit. Back in the day, when I first had my first child, my grandma, they would say, let the baby cry. Like, leave the baby in a crib for a little bit and let the baby cry, because they'll form their own schedule and things of that sort. So it's like we so eagerly jump in and rescue, our kids, or, rescue the people that we love, that now when they get in front of something that's confrontational, or they get in front of something that they're being denied from, or whatever, then they ready to lose their mind because they don't know how to deal with that.
Yeah. So what I do even with my son hates this, but I try to give artificial adversity, because in reality he doesn't really have to want for much. So just random times I would say for like school or something like that, I unplug his alarm clock, right? And he wake up a little bit late, and now he has to be able to problem solve and figure out what he needs to do, because for waking up late. Because you're right, convenience
Look, the
will
mom
weaken
in me
you.
is like,
You need to be
mental abuse.
No. Oh, listen. He
I
he
know,
is more than
but you
fine.
gotta think what people go
But
through in
he
the
just
army, okay?
absolutely. And listen, because our kids need to be able to have that, because it's going to give them
And
that false
problem
sense of
solve,
reality,
problem
especially
solve.
as Black kids. Exactly. And problem solving is one of the best life skills that you can have, because there's always something going to go wrong. You know what I'm saying? So if you don't know how to problem solve, then you're going to stay stuck, and you're going to wait for people to solve your problems. And that's like for my son, because he's at the age, he's 12, going to be 13. Everything, like a lot of things, especially that I've already told him before, my answer is always figure it out. He said, I don't know what to eat today. We got to figure it out. We got food. You got to figure it out. Because he needs, my goal is always to make sure some of my voice is going to be his conscience. And one of those things I want to be able to continue to lay on him is figuring it out, because any level of success, new levels, new devils, right? We're all successful on here, and there's not one time you reach a level and you're like, everything cool. You reach that level, you're like, God damn, I didn't even know this was it.
It
Like that,
definitely is.
you
You
gotta
think
figure it
it,
out.
and that's so crazy. I was telling somebody the other day that when I first started out, I couldn't wait to be where I'm at, and now I'm like, dang, I'll be cool going back to level 1. But it's it's two flip sides to that. It's definitely two flip sides to that. One is sometimes people be in the basement so long that once they get to the first floor, they mistake it as the penthouse, so they don't want to move, And then 2, they don't understand the amount of maintenance that it takes to keep up with the penthouse versus the basement. But yeah, problem solving is definitely a real thing, and we definitely need to challenge our kids like that, because if I didn't have that amount of mental strength, then I wouldn't be able to be where I am in entrepreneurship, because I keep telling people entrepreneurship is a million times mental, because every day I'm confronted with a jigsaw puzzle that I gotta figure out how to maneuver or get out of, or
Everybody want to be an entrepreneur. It's such a great word to say, but to live like that just means you're gonna be living in constant just what ifs, constant again figuring things out, because once you reach a certain level, like, all right, cool, now I got to make sure I'm at this level to make sure if something goes wrong, you have a bad quarter, you know what I'm saying, you're still going to be able to eat. And it's just, a lot of times people need to understand that. Listen, I'd never take it back. I've been an entrepreneur, I don't know, since the 7th grade.
Entrepreneurs since they was kids.
Yeah. So it's but some people are gonna be one. Some people, it's okay to not be an entrepreneur. It's okay to have a 9 to 5. It's okay to have a salary. You know what I mean? So a lot of people, they look down on the 9 to 5s, and it's like, yo, like if you got a solid salary, I don't want to downplay anybody's salary. If you got an honest salary with a certain amount, and you're living life and everything like that,
people
then
a lot of
do
money
that.
with
You know what I'm saying?
corporations
You
and
don't
jobs, and that's
have to.
okay, because guess what? People like me that is running a corporation, I want to hire you. I want to hire someone that is an operational genius. I want to hire somebody that has that, because 9 times out of 10, most entrepreneurs are visionaries. And a lot of times why they end up not becoming their top level of success is because they're trying to do it on their own. And that's why Jobs is one of my
That
greatest
part.
mentors because he knew how to pull greatness out of the people around him. He ain't touch a computer. He ain't put a jack inside a
Facts.
thing or nothing. He just knew how to pull the greatness out of everyone that was around him. And there's nothing wrong with that. So, you know,
That's
it all
great.
works together, and it's all about what makes you happy. And, you know, success is success. It doesn't matter. You know, things are always trending. But again, there's some people that are literally just made to just never marry. So it's all about what that, you know, it is
That's okay.
that you are built to do, or what it is that you're able to do. Don't do something because you see somebody else doing it. Because again, Instagram and these social medias only show you a highlight of a moment, but you don't know how I had to burn down the person I am a million times to be recreated into what I am now, because every new season of me gets a different version, Deshaun. So it's like, you don't know, people go to get to what they have.
So quick question. 'Cause I don't think a lot of people know your accolades as well. You know what I mean? So I'm just gonna read it. You know, Dare to Have Inc. was established in 2012. Soon after being laid off from corporate America, you had a $300 investment, $300, and the first year you made $368,000 in sales. Second year you reached $1 million in sales. That $1 million mark, that's a great, you know, stepping stone. That's a great milestone. How one, I'm gonna put a pin on that, but I'm gonna continue this. Since launching your brand Dare to Have Hair in 2012, you've been taking the industry by storm, the hair industry by storm. Quality wigs, extensions. They've been on celebrities like Lizzo, Ming Lee, Kimora Lee Simmons, Dreezy, Diera, and Black China, just to name a very few. And you've been featured on notable award shows like American Music Awards and the 2020 Grammy Awards. This is pre-Oscar, or no, that's the Oscars. But so Grammy Awards. I don't say anything to brag or boast, but it just shows your drive and hunger, right? So there's a couple things right there. That first $1 million, when you saw that on your on your spreadsheet and everything like that, how did that feel when you saw that?
I honestly, I was like, I gotta go harder, and then at the same time, I wasn't even in a moment to appreciate it, because most visionaries, instead of us living in a moment, we're already planning for the next thing. So I'm now at a place in my
$10 million
life where
mark.
I'm learning to enjoy where I was at, where I am at, which is very hard for me. But I have to start doing that in perspective, because I noticed that I was allowing fear and anxiety to drive me. And that gave me business depression, which affected other areas of my life, which I didn't even really know was a thing, because I couldn't really enjoy my business. So a lot of times, even now, and then just kind of my personality is, I'll be out in the public and, people will run up to me, or they'll be like, that's Dare to Have Hair. Or I'll be around family members and they'll be like, she didn't even speak. Or, she out of it, because my mind be on like 15 million different things, because I have the anxiety of, did I finish that? Did I do that? Did this person do that? Did they make sure the orders go out? There are shipment getting, or is it still stuck on the water? Like, everybody's worried because their packages ain't moving as fast enough. So I carry all that weight and anxiety. So it's like so hard for me to be like, dang, like you just made $1 million. You just made $3 million. You just did that. You just bought a new house. You got a G-Wagon. Or just to be able to celebrate the things that I have is like, it's nothing to me. And I think it keeps me at a level of humility where it's nothing, because I treat my G-Wagon the same way I would treat a Honda Accord. And people be like, you got a G-Wagon, but I got like a big in the back. I got wipes, like nothing to Like my husband, like you can't be like this in this car. Like today, he pulled up on me. I'm at this movie place. He called me like, "Where you at?" I'm like, "I'm at this movie place." He like, "Oh, all right, I'm behind you." I'm like, "What, you stalking me?" He's like, "I just wanted to see." He like, "Why you park like that?" Like he like, "That's hot. Like that's dangerous. Like all these people out here, and you just sitting like right here, boom, in a G-Wagon." But to me, it's nothing because in the back of my mind, I'm like, it's a Honda. It's just my car.
Yeah.
So I have a hard time
I
of
mean,
reality
I think
of living in reality and in the moment versus where I'm trying to get to and what's going on around me. So a lot of times I have shorted and failed my family and my friends or just other people where they like, Deshaun ain't even speak to me, or Deshaun ain't even invite me, or Deshaun ain't even, like, I spoke to her, she didn't even speak back, or she didn't even have a conversation with me. She was short. She started talking to me and she just walked off. Like so many different things that people might laugh about, but that is not good.
I think we all fall victim of that.
Yeah.
I think for me too.
Conversation with me. She was short. She started talking to me. She just walked off. Like
Talking.
so many things that people might laugh about, but that is not good.
Can you mute that? Sorry. Oh snap! Hold on. What?
I heard him off the phone.
Yeah, okay.
Can you mute that? Stop.
How do you mute that?
We'll try. Okay. All right, there we go.
I think we all
go ahead,
fall
Mike.
victim of that. I think I had a conversation with my cousins and my homies, and it kicked my homie kicked it to me like, yo, we gotta slow down because like time ain't a real thing. I'm like, well, what you mean?
Real thing.
Huh?
It's definitely a real thing.
But it's not though, because time was created by man. Like the days of the week is created by man. Henry Ford created the 40-hour work schedule. So that fucked me up. And it made me realize so much, and it go back to what you were saying about living in the moment. And I think, but that's even like a deeper thing. But once you
deep with it, because I'm tired of you saying deeper thing, but not getting deep.
But it is because it's like it's going to make you question religion and certain things, and I don't like talking to people about their religion and stuff like that.
Well, I don't believe in religion. I believe in a relationship with God because I could be a religious crackhead. So I try to stay away from religion, right? So it can heighten my way of life or what I'm doing. Then I take that as that's God using someone to get a message to me.
Yeah, for sure. But just simple as if a man created time, then we got to question everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you should definitely question everything. Definitely should question. And that's one of the reasons why I have to take a step back and I'm trying to live in the moment because, like I said, I never got a chance to really celebrate. And now I look back at pictures or videos that I never even posted or I withheld because I wasn't able to appreciate them because I had business depression, because I had anxiety, with just trying to, run a company and a business with being a first generational entrepreneur. I never got a chance to be in the moment because I'm always doing 15 million different things at one time. And anxiety of that when things fall apart. I thank God that my parents by purpose or fault created me to be a critical thinker, but at the same time that still wears on you because again it's like I can't live in a moment because I'm always trying to solve another problem because I feel like I have so many people that I'm going to let down if I don't. I'm gonna let down my customer, I'm gonna let down my business connections. I'm gonna let down, somebody's going to get let down. So me just trying to hold all these things together with things that are clearly out of my control, but can take a person there, can take somebody there mentally to the point that I'm not able to have conversations or I'm really short with people or I'm not able to indulge and be the face of the brand, or all those different things that I would love and want to be, but I can't, because it's like I have to make sure everything goes. And it's like with entrepreneurship, when things are going really well, something always bad happens that's unforeseen. And it's like you have to be able to pivot, critical think, or just keep moving, because if not, you know, it's going to fail. Like this whole thing with COVID did a whole different new thing for just business, period. I'm pretty sure y'all have felt that in y'all industry, but definitely with product and inventory, you know, it has been a whole big thing on the level of, you know, from trucks, the planes, the boats being affected by it, where, you know, something's always happening. You know, it's not enough manpower, it's not enough, you know, this factories. I have 2 factories that keep being shut down. COVID now is hitting hard in India and hard and overseas. So I have 2 factories that recently literally just keep getting shut down. Like it's out of my control, and there's nothing I can do about it. So it's like so many things that happen with entrepreneurship, but then at the same time you want to ask me what's for dinner, or what's my favorite color, or I didn't say hi to you. You know, so it's like
So with some of that, I mean, I fall victim of this as well. Do you feel like you be having survival remorse?
Survival remorse, mom remorse, wife remorse, self-care remorse.
Yeah.
Just remorse.
Yeah, I think it's
Just
so.
remorse.
I think it's so unfair for us because
boss remorse. I could
go. I think because how we are as creators and visionaries, we just keep creating and keep going. But some may look at it like, oh, it's all about them. They don't care about me no more. And someone told me, my guy Prince Donnell used to say, yo man, elevation creates separation. And it's like, it's fucked up, but everybody can go. Everybody's not meant to go. And it's not even like a personal thing. It's like, I think once people realize we all have our own journeys, and I might not be on it. I might not be on your elevator, and that's fine. That's cool.
Yeah.
But it even gets deeper than that. Not only does elevation correct separation with the people around us, and they can't go, it's always going to create separation and division within yourself, which is not always a bad thing, because sometimes things have to fall apart in order for them to fall together.
Yeah.
So on every level that you go, it's going to require a higher level of you, a more deeper level of you, a more focused level of you, and mature enough and wise enough to leave who you were 5 minutes ago, who you were last year behind. And sometimes people can't do that because they want to keep doing the same thing over and over again. And sometimes that be the hardest part too of trying to get to the next level, because we're still trying to operate in an old suit. We're trying to operate with an old weapon, or, you know, an old mindset. You know, or even old staff. Sometimes that's why when we look at corporations, they fire and they rehire, they fire and they rehire. Sometimes people are seasonal and they just gotta go. There are so many people that be trying to walk out of our life because we think that business is like personal, and we want to hold on to them. Like, you know, you've been was supposed to let that assistant go, but you still try to keep hold on to her because of loyalty, not understanding that business loyalty and personal loyalty are 2 different things. You have to stop.
That's like the biggest battle, because in my industry it's very difficult, because me being a person that that helps people with mental health. A lot of times, a lot of mental health places fail because they just kind of focus strictly on the people, and forget it's a business as well. So I have to balance that. It's a business of people, and it's a business as well. You know what I mean? Not only with the clients, but also with like the staff. You know, I had a staff that I should have been fired. You know, I should have fired her. Maybe she on here, I don't care. But I should have fired her. I don't know, maybe like 6 months ago. You know what I mean? But you know, I'm always trying to make sure I'm giving people opportunities, and it was around Christmas time and stuff. But she had to go, and that's the hardest thing, because you have a bleeding heart. But when it's a business situation, you you can't go through
Yeah.
emotions. You gotta go through logic.
And we also
And
have to look
that's the
at it
hardest
that
situation.
sometimes
You
us
know?
holding on to people, we're stopping them from where their purpose or where they're supposed to go, because at the end of the day, everything has an expiration date. But if we're holding on to something that needs to be let go, we're stopping them from getting to their next stop. But again, whole thing, that's why I said this year I'm not dealing with fear, because fear creates illusions in our mind of scenarios that don't even need to be there, don't even exist. At the end of the day, it's not personal, but you got to find another job, because it's not working out, and it's going to keep creating the same situations over and over again.
Yeah. And again, it's almost like there was always a story about like this person, like this guy. He was in a river, and he was in a canoe, and the canoe kind of saved his life from drowning. So he was going down the river, and as soon as the river stopped, he saw land, but he needed to go from one end of the jungle to the other. So he picked up the canoe and walked in the jungle. But the thing is, that canoe was knocking on the trees and it was slowing him down. But he kept on holding on, because that canoe is what saved his life back then. But the thing is, that canoe cannot go on this extra part of his journey. And that's also, we got to also understand with people and with situations, we can't continue to live in the past on what people have done, what situations have done, if it's not ready, if it's not supposed to be there for you for this next step of life. And that's the hardest part whenever you're doing anything in success and business, is you got to make those tough decisions. But that's the only way you'll be able to get from one place to another
And then on
to a
the flip
heightened
side
level.
of it, while you was talking about that, because we was talking about marriage, I just had an epiphany, and I believe that's why God allows us to change so much in marriage. But a lot of times people want to hold on to the old version of us, not knowing that the new season requires a new version of us. And that's why you have to be so in tune with God and your mate, that when they change, instead of you looking at it as, okay, God, what is happening and how do I need to prepare for this, instead of trying to hold on to the old version of them. Because two different scenarios. It's two different scenarios. So in business, you got to have one mindset. But then in the home, you have to have a totally different mindset. So I can't bring the way I would treat my job at home. And I can't bring how I would treat my home at my job. So I have to constantly switch to adapt to each environment in order for me to have both of them at a high level. And be successful.
Facts. Yeah, it's not easy. That's why self-care is important.
And you definitely, that's why it's important to sit with yourself and get to know yourself and learn yourself before you want to learn somebody else, or learn yourself before you want somebody else to come in and save you. You need to be already saved. You need to be already saved. You need to be already healed. You can't try to force that on somebody else to do, because they're always going to fail you.
Absolutely. So I know we're around our time right now. My baby, I think my baby's crying right now, so I gotta do the daddy role now, right? But this is such a not only informative conversation, but it's a warming conversation. I always follow you, so I always love the elevation you've created, and I'm continuing to pray and root for you for that next level. You're part of the family, so you already know. So I just appreciate you taking time to even have a conversation with us, because I know business is 24/7. So listen, before we do hop off, is there anything that you want to leave the viewers or the listeners or the watchers, any type of gem?
I would say there's a shift happening right now, and instead of looking at your life like everything is going wrong, look at it like everything is going right. Because a lot of times when there's friction, something greater is at work, or something, bigger is at. We always talk about, when we think of having like a godly encounter, a lot of times we think of it as a peaceful, birds is flapping. But sometimes having a godly encounterment can be you being in the belly of a whale, you being in a den with a lion, you walking through fire. So don't be so quick to dismiss, discount, talk down, or talk against the season that you're in, because that season is preparing you for something greater, even though it's very uncomfortable. But in uncomfortable situations, something better is getting ready to be birthed. So I know a lot of people are going through a lot of uncomfortability right now. And I would just say, don't be afraid of it, but embrace it, because something beautiful is being made out of it.
There we go. I love it.
I would say the only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
I know that's right. That's facts. And I actually got to end with this, because I don't know if you guys know that, one of my biggest goals at the end of this is to be one of the first therapists, signed to Columbia Records. Be one of the first therapists signed to Columbia Records, and mine's gonna help me with that, So, but I have to continue dropping off, these therapeutic bars. So I have a couple therapeutic bars, just little small ones, from just the wrap up of everything we were talking about. The first one is don't forget to stop and smell the roses to the road to success, to your road to success. That's one for you, with the work that you've done. Also, a goal without a date is only a dream. So a goal without a date is only a dream. As we're entering into this new year, people are going to have a lot of, goals, but if you don't have that target date, it's just going to go by. It's never going to happen. So we need to have that target date in order to really make sure it happens. And last but not least, everyone is a bad guy in someone's story. So a lot of times people don't go to that next level because they're afraid they're going to hurt someone's feelings. You got to make sure you got to make,
soft.
I mean, you're going to hurt
Everybody
somebody's
be
feelings.
soft. I'm learning how to be soft. Because I don't mind being a
That's what I'm saying. So in order to get to that success, you gotta be okay with that. But listen, I appreciate both of you guys on here. I tell you, every week this is one of my favorite times of the week. It helps balance me out. This is my therapeutic situation when I'm not talking to my therapist. So I appreciate you guys. And I want you guys to continue to have a great start of this new year. This year is for you. This year is gonna be nothing but abundance, growth, and just prosperity and happiness. So appreciate everybody that logged on, and everybody that's gonna see this later. Make sure you guys don't forget to protect your energy and invest in your mental wealth. Thank you guys. Have a good night.